Most people think they already know which SUVs to avoid. They'll tell you to stay away from the obvious ones, the brands with the bad reputation, the ones their neighbor complained about. The problem is the data disagrees with your neighbor. Some of the worst SUVs you can buy in 2026 wear badges people genuinely trust, and some of the ones everyone warns you about have actually gotten quietly better. This list isn't built on reputation. It's built on NHTSA complaint filings, independent reliability surveys, and owner-reported failure data across 50,000-mile, 100,000-mile, and 150,000-mile thresholds. 7 SUVs. Real numbers. No brand loyalty. Here's what the data actually says. Before the list, here's how this was built. 3 data sources. First, NHTSA complaint volume per model, normalized by sales numbers so popular vehicles don't get penalized just for selling more units. Second, repair frequency scores from independent reliability surveys, specifically failure rates before 100,000 miles, because that's the window where a brand new SUV should not be failing. Third, real owner forums and long-term ownership reports. Not one subreddit, not one review site. Cross-referenced across multiple communities to filter out outliers. When all 3 sources pointed to the same vehicle, that SUV made this list. The only question that actually matters when you're spending $30,000 or more is this: will it still be running reliably at 120,000 miles without draining your bank account? 7 SUVs failed that test. Number 7. The Jeep Cherokee. Not the Grand Cherokee. The standard Cherokee. The 9-speed transmission in these has one of the highest complaint rates in its class. Owners report hesitation, hard shifts, and in some cases complete transmission failure before 80,000 miles. Fiat Chrysler acknowledged calibration issues with this unit across multiple model years. Repair costs when this transmission goes between $4,500 and $6,800 out of warranty. That's not a knock on Jeep across the board. That's a specific transmission paired with a specific platform, and the data on it is not good. Number 6. The Nissan Pathfinder, specifically 2013 through 2020. The CV transmission in these models is one of the most documented failure points in modern automotive history. Nissan extended warranties on these units multiple times because the failure rate was indefensible. Owner forums have thousands of posts on this. On Reddit, one of the most upvoted answers when someone asks about SUVs to avoid is simply any Nissan with a CVT before 2021. Do not do it. The newer Pathfinder moved to a 9-speed automatic. That version is better. But if you're shopping used and see a 2013 through 2020 Pathfinder with a CVT, walk away. We're almost halfway through, and the list is about to get more interesting. Numbers 5, 4, and 3 include one vehicle most buyers consider a safe choice, one luxury SUV that costs a fortune to maintain beyond the warranty, and one that has a failure rate in a critical system that Consumer Reports flagged as significantly above average. Stay with me. Number 5. The Chevrolet Traverse, 2018 through 2022. The 2.0-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder in these is the one to avoid. Oil consumption issues, timing chain stretch, and carbon buildup on direct injection engines that most owners don't know to address until it's causing rough idle and misfires. The 3.6-liter V6 in the same generation, much better. But the 4-cylinder version created enough documented problems that it represents a meaningful risk in the used market. Number 4. The Lincoln Aviator, first generation 2020 through 2022. This is the one people don't see coming. The plug-in hybrid version of the Aviator, the Grand Touring trim, has one of the most complex powertrains in its segment. Battery management issues, software-related drivetrain faults, and a 48-volt mild hybrid system in the base model that has generated complaints disproportionate to its sales volume. Starting price over $60,000. Repair costs when something goes wrong frequently exceed $3,000 per incident out of warranty. That's not a luxury ownership experience. That's a luxury price tag with a problem you didn't pay for. Number 3. The Hyundai Tucson and Santa Fe, specifically the 2.0 and 2.4-liter Theta 2 engine variants. This is a known issue. Hyundai and Kia have faced multiple class action lawsuits over engine failures in these engines. Metal debris in the oil supply causing rod bearing failures, sometimes before 100,000 miles. A recall was issued, but owner reports suggest the recall fix has not resolved the issue completely in all cases. Reddit threads on this have thousands of comments. The top comment on one of the most upvoted posts about Hyundai reliability in 2026 reads, "Cheap cars for cheap people." That's harsh, but the failure data on these specific engines is not easy to defend. Number 2. The Land Rover Discovery Sport and Range Rover Evoque. These are beautiful vehicles, no argument. The ownership experience beyond 60,000 miles is a different conversation entirely. Electrical gremlins, air suspension failures on higher trims, and infotainment system faults show up in owner reports with remarkable consistency. The average annual maintenance cost on a Land Rover is among the highest of any SUV brand in the US market. When you account for out-of-warranty repair frequency, the total 5-year ownership cost on these vehicles can exceed the purchase price of a comparable Japanese SUV. That's not an exaggeration, that's the math. Number 1, and this one is going to start an argument in the comments. I guarantee it. The Ford Expedition, 2021 through 2024. The 3.5-liter EcoBoost twin-turbo engine in these is powerful, no question, but the complexity of the twin-turbo system, combined with documented water pump failures, timing chain issues, and carbon buildup on direct injection, has produced a failure profile that does not match the price tag. Starting price, over $55,000. On Reddit, a 2026 Expedition owner posted just last month, water pump failed at 3,340 miles. Stranded 1,000 miles from home, 3,340 miles. On a vehicle that costs more than most people's annual salary. The F-150 with the same engine? Generally better. The Expedition applies more thermal load to the same powertrain in a heavier chassis, and the failure data reflects that. 7 SUVs. The data on all of them points in the same direction. Not every vehicle on this list is irredeemably bad. Some have specific model years that are better than others. Some have specific trim levels or engine options that avoid the problem entirely. But if reliability is the priority, if longevity is what you're paying for, these are the 7 vehicles where the numbers say look somewhere else first. The next video on this channel covers the other side of that equation, the SUVs that never break down. Full reliability rankings, built from the same data. Drop the SUV you've been looking at in the comments. I'll tell you if it made the other list. If you want the full data before you sign anything, hit subscribe. We break down numbers like this every week. I'll see you in the next one.